What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Around the Table Sports. Yes, I know I have a haircut. I'm clean shaven. I look like I'm 12 again. I hear it from my girlfriend every day since it's happened, so go ahead and pile on in the comments down below. But now that that's done with, there's a lot of news in the college football realm that we have to get into. And unless you've been living under a rock, you've already seen that the Big Ten and the Pac-12 have voted to postpone their seasons until the spring. And I, along with everybody else that has the main question of how does that work if you have a quick turnaround into the next season, being a few months of summer vacation and you're already back into it, that seems pretty risky for the players. But right now it comes down to that we now have, instead of the Power 5, we have a Power 3. The Big 12, the ACC, and the SEC have all voted to go on as business as usual within their respective conference-only schedules. Now, Nebraska has been kind of hinting at wanting to play very seriously this year, but as of now, it doesn't look like there's been any real communication between the Nebraska and the Big 12. So I don't think that Nebraska is going to leave the Big Ten. Sure, it would have them play football, but they would take a massive economic hit. And for a team that was a powerhouse in the 90s, and then even in the early 2000s, was a very, very formidable team, they haven't been very good for very long. And so they definitely can't afford to lose money on top of not being very good. So Nebraska is not going anywhere. Nebraska is going to stay inside the Big Ten. Now, with these two conferences canceling, it gives an interesting question as to how does this affect the rest of the season. Well, the honest answer is it probably doesn't in any capacity whatsoever outside of Ohio State. The Big Ten a few years ago was very good when Harbaugh was fresh at Michigan and there was all the hype of how he's recruiting and he's in the music videos. But at the time, Michigan was very good. Michigan State, very good. Ohio State, very good. Penn State, very good. But things have changed now. And yes, Penn State and Michigan are still good to very good programs depending on the year. The point is out of the Big Ten, we're not going to be missing anybody except for Ohio State. They're the only ones that had any real hope of a national championship. Sure, some fluky things could happen and Michigan could go on. And I have to be honest, I don't see Michigan beating a depleted LSU with them losing everybody. I don't see them beating Georgia. I really don't see them beating Alabama. I don't see them beating Florida. I don't see them beating Clemson. So already you're behind the mark of both the SEC's top opponents and the ACC's top dog. Not to mention you're probably second best in your conference. Ohio State was the only one with anything real to offer to the table as far as natty aspirations. Now, that being said, let's talk about the Pac a little bit, and then we'll come back to kind of focus on two teams. The Pac-12 is in a situation where, if I have to be honest, you probably don't get anybody into the playoffs, and it's incredibly unfortunate that you don't get a season because for anybody that's been to this channel before, for anybody that's heard me kind of talk, there's one program in the Pac-12 that I am actually very excited about, and that is Oregon. What Mario Cristobal and them are doing up at Oregon right now, I don't know how you couldn't be a college football fan and not be very excited about what's happening there. I mean, just look at their last recruiting class with the two top linebackers in the nation both choosing to go to Oregon when they already have Kayvon Thibodeau. Now, Oregon, the reason I say you probably weren't making it into the playoffs is because you don't have continuity at the quarterback position, which is something that I think is very key, especially when you look at a team like USC in your own conference that has some continuity at the quarterback position and arguably has the best receiving core in college football. Now, I'm an SEC guy. I'm a little bit biased. I still think that the combination of one Jalen Waddle and Devontae Smith is probably more powerful than what they have going at USC. You even look at LSU, what they have left, Georgia with Pickens and the guys they're picking up. I think there's about 4 or 5 teams that have that real wide receiver university claim as it goes into this season, but USC is absolutely one of them. And you couldn't have somebody tell you USC's got the best receiving core in the nation, and you can't tell them they're crazy, because there's valid reasons and valid points as to why they would think that. 5-star Brew McCoy, 5-star Amon-Ra St. Brown. I mean, they got the talent, and they have plenty of it, and they have a continuity at the quarterback position, which is really key. But even if you had Herbert, I still don't think Oregon is a real threat to any of the top teams in the nation if they get into the playoffs. For those of you that haven't seen, I did a video on Justin Herbert versus Tua Tagovailoa because I thought it was very interesting that a lot of scouts were saying that, oh, well, maybe Herbert will go before Tua because maybe he offers more. And the conversation moved away from Tua's injury into what Herbert offered. Well, I made a film analysis video looking at it, and I found that Justin Herbert is much more Mitch Trubisky than he is Drew Brees, whereas Tua is much more Drew Brees than he is Mitch Trubisky. So, Oregon, like I said, I really don't have y'all making the playoffs this year because of the lack of continuity at the quarterback position. You're super loaded on the defensive side, and you have the nation's best offensive linemen. But even if you had Justin Herbert with this team, you wouldn't be much of a threat to these top dogs just yet, but you are building something special that everybody needs to watch out for. But that being said, those are the two teams I kind of want to focus on and how this moves forward, and that is Ohio State and Oregon. Now, I think the biggest question specifically for Oregon and Ohio State is how does this affect recruiting moving forward? Now, Ohio State has the #1 class in the nation, but just yesterday, a guy that is a key part of that class, number 30th ranked player in the nation, Tomais Adelea, decommitted from Ohio State. Now, he looks to be in position for either A&M, Alabama to land him, and don't sleep on Florida. Florida's the place where he had his last visit. That really means a lot. But that being said, most people think he's an Alabama lean. He's been very, very vocal about what he likes about Alabama, and it matches up with a lot of his long-term goals. He's another one of those guys who's just spitballing how easy it is to get into the NFL from Bama because of how they run their program. It's like a business. So already, we see that Ohio State has lost the number 30 player in the nation. And guys, there's something to realize here. This individual, Tomais Adelea, is one player off from being a 5-star. There are 29 5-stars in this class. He's one player outside the 5 stars. So he is arguably a 5-star talent guy that just left Ohio State's class. Now, Bama is nipping on the heels of Ohio State, and if he flips from Ohio State to Bama, all of a sudden, this whole recruiting class is starting to look way different. And how does that reverberate moving forward, right? Like, this is a ripple effect. This is the first ripple to go. But now I look at guys like JT Tuimoloau out of Washington, who the rumor has been that he's always been kind of an Ohio State lean. And then Oregon was really apparently hot on his tail and really starting to make up a lot of ground. How will this affect how he decides on where he plays his college football? Because remember, there are SEC teams in line for Corey Foreman. Like, they're right there. And now the Pac12, who is the favorite to land Corey Foreman, albeit not Oregon, but USC. Now, how does that affect his recruitment? He looks like, now, if I had to guess, I think he's probably LSU, Georgia, or Alabama. Not in any particular order, but that's just kind of the feeling I get. So Big Ten, Pac-12, you're kind of hit with this double whammy. Not only are you not playing football, Justin Fields was a guy who is probably the Heisman favorite outside of Trevor Lawrence, although Pro Football Focus rates Fields higher than Lawrence. His opportunity at that is gone. You're already losing recruits, and it's really a tragic thing. That's about it for this video, guys. Whatever you think is going to happen, comment down below. Let me know. Do you think more commitments are going to jump ship? Remember, we talked about JT Tuimoloau. He was an Ohio State lean, and now we know that Bama was nipping at their heels for him. Does he stay kind of favoring Ohio State as the 24/7 crystal ball indicates? Or is a team like Alabama, an SEC squad, a ACC squad, or even a Big 12 squad able to make up ground because they're getting to play? We'll see. Guys, if you enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing to the channel. We do constant content talking about high school football, college football, NFL, sports in general. We like to have fun here. We do film analysis, news pieces, journalistic pieces, and even highlight reaction videos. If you enjoyed the video, drop a thumbs up and drop a comment down below letting me know once again, do you think there are going to be any more decommitments? Do you think any of these big time recruits are now going to steer away from the PAC and the Big Ten to a place like the new Power 3 of the Big 12, the SEC, and the ACC? Well, that's it for this video. See y'all later.